think that actually the 2 beds, because of this quantum, it also seems pretty attractive in comparison to some of the other launches on the island.
Definitely, I think the first bedroom type seller is what we have repeatedly mentioned. The 3-bed dual key. Dual key units are so fantastic.
If I'm just working there, I just want to get a unit that is the most affordable unit. I just want to stay there. I'll be going for the smallest unit, which is the 1+ study.
They want to tell you got meeting at 6:30.
Okay, it's okay, don't worry. How many inform them to wait for me a while? Okay. Alright, so we're on to our next episode, and this time round at our new launch banter series, we want to review, together with Grayce and Wayne, Blossoms by the Park. Let's go.
You have to pay a premium to enjoy the void space that comes along with this penthouse unit. This entire project.
Something that's very interesting is that on this particular step, which is step number 1, the every drop-off point, you have a gym plus. So we're gonna head in. Let's go.
Mission control, we have liftoff.
Okay, so a quick disclaimer again for all our new launch banter series. Firstly, a lot of our materials are derived from our partners from different agencies, and of course when we derive this brochures as well as fact sheets and information and floor plans, a lot of them are in the draft stage. So do take note that a lot of things are subjected to change and the sole discretion belongs to the developers. Also take note when it comes to pricing analysis, the entire review series is for research and sharing purposes. So take note that pricing are subjected to also changes nearing towards the launch date as well as throughout the entire longevity of the launch itself. And so discretion also belongs to the developer. Do check back with your individual broker that's assisting you. Of course, if you love to head on to PLB, at PLB, you have a new launch consult team that deep dives together with our clients to analyze for you which are the most probable new launches that has the highest chance of capital appreciation over the next 5 to 8 years, as well as deriving from the analysis point from our mood analysis, as well as balancing out with your individual preferences based on our mood analysis and plus your financial analysis as well. So do click on the link on the description box down below, as well as to scan the QR code at the end of today's session. That will bring you to our consult page. Now today I have Grayce with us as well as Wayne, and we're going to deep dive on Blossoms by the Park. So why don't we kickstart with Wayne to bring us through some of the quick facts on this particular development.
Sure. So when we talk about One North area, we definitely are talking about the area where you're talking about Fusion Police, Biopolice, and also your Media Police as well. So in that particular plot itself, there's actually not a lot of new projects. Of course, the latest one that is still building in progress will actually be One North Eden. So Blossoms by the Park is actually going to be launched soon. It's sitting on a land plot of 7,900 odd square meters, and it's also, the developer is EL Development. So if you're not aware of who is EL Developments, they are actually the one that's behind Pullman Residences, they are the one that's behind Symphony Suites, Park Riviera. So these are the projects that is being done by EL Development. This land plot is a 99 years land plot, and there are a total of 275 units with 1 commercial lot at a lower level. So this is actually a residential with commercial on the first level kind of zoning. So it is made out of 1 single block of 27 stories, and the TOP date is estimated to be between 2026 to 2027 thereabout. So the launch of this project will likely be probably end of March to early April. We are definitely looking forward to this particular project because if you look at the whole entire One North area, there isn't much of a developments. In fact, most of the developments are pretty much about 20 over years old, so remaining lease is about 70 to 80 over years. The newest one would then be One North Eden, as well as also Blossoms by the Park.
Right.
So Blossoms by the Park is also part of the 2 land plots that was being awarded by the government land sale. And of course, EL Development outbidded the nearest competitor, which is from Kingsford. So Kingsford actually got the other land, which is called Parcel B.
Thanks, Wayne, for bringing us through the fact sheet as well as the project details. So before I want to ask Grayce something, I just want to share with everybody on this particular portion here on Google Earth. So of course, this was One North Eden. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the one, right? Okay, so this is fully sold already. So if you look at the performance, is fantastic.
In fact, in 2021, it was sold out about 85% on the launch day.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons is because later, as we deep dive into what is currently available in the entire portion at this One North zoning as well as Buona Vista, there's technically not a lot of projects. So the very first two projects were Heritage View as well as Dover Park View. Then later on you have this project with very big mega units. For example, the two beders is at 1,002 to 1,003 square feet, and that is Rochester Residences. Actually, last time it was being named as One Rochester. Then they actually renamed it to Rochester Residences. I don't know from which point in time because there was just one day I wanted to search for One North. It was One Rochester. I wanted to search for One Rochester, but then the name was gone, and then it's being renamed to the Rochester Residences. So maybe the MCST reapplied to Strata Title Board to change the name or something like that. Okay, and then of course you have One North Residences, and then One North Eden. And now you have these two new plots, Plot A and Plot B, Blossoms by the Park, the Hill at One North. So something to note is that over here, seemingly based on the plot size, I don't think there's like mega developments. And of course, this one is 275. One North Eden was 100 plus units. And it was sold already. So right now, developer sales is at about 100% here. And the latest transacted PSF, some of the balance units were at about $2,000. It started at about $1,008 to $2,000. And I think on day one, if you notice on the 24th of April, that's actually the caveat launch date. But I think almost all types were being stamped up. 1, 2, 3 beders were being stamped up. Okay, Grayce, by the way, congratulations on the last shoot that we had. Botany.
Oh yeah.
You guessed that the 2+ study will be stamped up. And indeed, yes, that is the one that has been the most hot favorite. Congratulations. So as of today, Botany is already 48.7% sold. Congratulations to the developer. 2+ study, 31 out of 34 is gone. So I guess that 3-bed compact will be gone the first, but it didn't. 17 out of 46. Then Yurong was guessing what? I think he guessed like 3-bed flexi or don't know what.
I cannot remember.
Yeah, but you got it right. 2+ study. Congratulations. Now, we want to talk about the price point. So looking at this price point, the price analysis that Wayne has done for us, will you still buy Botany 2+ study?
Will I still buy Botany given that there's Blossoms coming up?
Now, so Wayne did a very comprehensive, so Botany is already launched, right? So we know that averagely they're doing it about 2,000 to 2,001 plus PSF. Average price I think is about 2,000. Wayne, looking at the break-even price as well as the land price, maybe bring us through what do you think will be probable? So of course Wayne has did up the entire spectrum from 2250 to 2550 because at this point in time we don't know what is the exact price to be launched.
I calculated in the break-even is about $1,986 plus the 20% of the marketing cost. That will brings us to about $2,380 odd dollars. So from there, I actually made a range out between 2250 all the way up to the highest of the 2,550 . So if you look at the one bedder, of course, if you take the median of 2,350, the one bedder will probably be about $1.3 odd million for a 549 square feet size. Two bedders will be about $1.6 million.
Right.
But if you look at these units mix, I think one of the more interesting one that will probably catch your eyes will be the dual key unit from the 3 bedders.
Right.
Yeah, so that is something that is pretty new in today's context. If you look at all the new launches, because I believe we are all very familiar with all the 1+ study, 2-bedder, 2+ study, 3-bedder, 3-bedder, premium, 4-bedder, 4+ study, or even the 5 bedders. But dual key is like
extremely rare.
Exactly.
This is like for many years we have not seen this kind of layout being launched already.
Right. So if you look at the 3 bedders, it's about 915 square feet. So this is generally a bit smaller than the ordinary 3-bedder, which I believe will probably comes with a utility room and a yard, right?
So it's also very interesting that the dual key is smaller than the normal 3-bedder because usually dual keys are bigger. Yeah. So later we'll have a look. The floor plans are not alright.
The floor plans are not out yet, so there's a disclaimer that the floor plans are all on a very draft level. So we only have the 1+ study all the way to 2, 3, 4. That's it. Yeah.
That means if the dual key layout is done well, this will likely be the one that I think will help us. Okay, so having looked at this, okay, so if we look at all the unit mix, similarly the developer is also adopting the same strategy that the predominant percentage belongs to 2-bedder because there's about 100 units here. Right. 3-bedder is about 50 units, dual key 50, then 4-bedder is about 50, So which one will you buy, Grayce? Let's talk about pricing first.
Okay, maybe if we look at the overall general unit mix, right, before we dive in to specific unit types, the strategy here by the developer is quite clear. They are targeting more of investor buyers, maybe those who are working in the one-off area, those who are looking to either buy for own stay or investment, rental income. The rental pool will definitely be extremely strong in this area. So I think that actually, if you look at it, the 2-bedders and 3-bedders, 2-bedders combined is 2 times of the 4-bedders. Yeah, so there are 2 times more 2-bedders than 4-bedders. So this is rare, right? If you were to look at projects in the OCR region, let's say we look at Botany previously, or even Terra Hill, the mix is pretty even. But here there's a very strong inclination towards the smaller unit types, which is unsurprising for the one-off area, actually. Yeah, to be honest. Not just the RCR, but specifically the one-off region where there will be a lot of commercial activity going on. Interestingly, this is also a commercial mix kind of development, right? With commercial at the
ground floor,
ground floor, and then residential above. So the strategy is pretty clear. It's targeted towards the
investors mindset.
Half investor, half own stay, looking at rental, looking at renting it out. So if your question, I believe, was which one
will you choose to buy for yourself?
If it's me, definitely I will go for the dual key, the 3-bedder dual key. One very interesting thing I think Melvin already pointed out is that the dual key unit is priced, not say priced, it is at a smaller square footage than the traditional 3-bedder. This is a very obvious move to target towards the investor buyers who maybe they don't want such a high quantum in one property, in one asset, but they still want to buy into a dual key unit. So if you are looking for half investment, half own stay, right, and you are, perhaps you have not made up your mind, and you do not want to rent out the entire unit, you also want to stay, you are still working there for the next maybe five years, and then maybe in the future you will buy a bigger unit somewhere else, but you want the flexibility to be able to rent out while you are staying. I think you'll definitely go for the 3-bedder dual key, and that will be the hot seller. It will sell like hotcakes.
Actually, if the price is really launched at about 2.4, this is a fantastic quantum. This quantum is like, you look at, we just did an episode on Tembusu Grand, right? Then we talk about contender and Dunman. The 3-bedder entry is already 2.8 lah. 2.8 minimum, right? Then you technically cannot get something around this range. This range actually, if it's launched, this is the entry for Botany, 3-bedder.
Which
3-bed, 2.2 million, 2.1, around there is the entry for Botany, right? Yeah, 3-bed, 83 square feet is at about 1.9.
I think definitely we cannot expect it to be the same. I would naturally assume there will be a premium for this Rochester kind of area compared to, let's say, Botany, but the demographics is also extremely different, right? Like there will be a group of people who are more, they love nature, they just want to live there. Those people will go for the Botany, but let's say if they want to walk and play at the same area, then they might go for Blossoms, which we were saying, right? Like, Blossoms is such a strange name, to be honest, for personally for this area. Right. Yeah, even
because this area you're expecting a name to be more techy, right?
Yes, like more tech centric, more like new age.
But I think it is also part of the JTC plan for the entire One North, where they have also designed the One North to be a mixture of commercial, recreational, as well as also the nature. So if you were to pull up the URA Master Plan, in fact, you can actually see that on the top part, there's actually 11 plots of land that has been earmarked for the greens, where it will actually connect all the way down to, let me check what's the part.
And anyway, just to backtrack a little bit, we did live at One North.
Yep.
Live
or life?
Live at One North.
Live at One North.
Live or life.
Lifeguards. Okay, because they always say, just remember it's called lifeguards. Okay. Because the reception crew is called lifeguard 24 hours.
Okay.
So live at One North, we also did live at Farrell. Can click on these 2 videos here. While we're researching One North is fantastic and awesome because there's so much heritage there. In fact, at Nepal Hill, which is one of the hill and One North region, there used to be like free-range chickens running around. That's why the laundromat area at the Live at One North is like making of the remake of the chicken design. So it's very, very interesting. Okay, this green belt, right, is the one that you're talking about, right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
So it is actually, total is about 11 plots that they're going to build, and they will actually connect all the way down to Kent Ridge Park. And in fact, based on JTC's brochure to promote One North, there is also even an underpass that will connect you from One North all the way down towards the Kent Ridge Park area.
Right.
So it allows a lot of connectivity, and plus the fact that we are also besides the railway corridor on the top right-hand corner. So I think that's something that is probably the reason why they name it to be Blossoms by the Park
Right.
kind of feel, and plus also the fact that there's also no fence for Blossoms project.
Yeah, that was something I was quite curious about. Can you tell us more about how it will not be like a gated?
Okay, so of course the disclaimer is that we have not gotten the full 100% confirmation of the site plan, but based on what we hear from
looks like
some of
this.
the project leaders is that it will have a,
Like open.
because there's a commercial shop at the bottom, at the ground floor level, so it allows public to actually walk along the park and goes into the commercial area where then you will have a separate entry point for your residential.
Security and all that.
Correct.
Right.
So it's more like a open kind of
Seamless
concept.
Right. No, wait, can you share with us, right? Why is this location fantastic? Other than the fact that, of course, we all know that this is a silicon tech hub. And of course, if we were to look in exact, on the exact locale, this is like interweave, not just within Buona Vista. It's also very near to NUS, NUH. It's also very near to basically Holland V, because
Holland V is on the top.
Yeah, on the top, right? Okay, so share with us like the excitement of this, because just now on top of this green lung that you're talking about, you also shared with me that there's like an enormous amount of residential land, or maybe currently it's called white site now.
All right, so I think first and foremost, the key selling point, of course, for Blossoms by the Park will actually be the close proximity to the train station. So as we all know, that is besides two train stations, one of them is actually Buona Vista train station, which is the interchange between the East-West line and the Circle line. And for that particular train station, it's about 4 minutes to 5 minutes walk, 250 to 300 meters away. And if you were to come down south, you will be going towards the One North train station, which is the Circle line. That will actually be a slightly longer walk, about 8 minutes walk. So it's seated between two train stations. And for families who are going to move there, if they are concerned about education, then of course they'll be pleased to know that it's within 1 kilometer from Fairfield Primary School,
Methodist Primary.
Fairfield Methodist Primary School, and
Fairfield
plus the fact,
Secondary.
all the schools are there as well, and plus also NUS. So in terms of education, in terms of amenities, transport, I think it ticks all the check boxes for that. But if you look at the whole entire area of One North, we are all talking about One North being an area that has about 50,000 odd workers that's working within the whole One North clusters. And when these workers, when they want to find a place to stay, the number of selection of units there are actually not a lot. So if you add up all the number of units for all the projects around there, it's about 2,000 odd units.
At
So
this point in time.
Yep, at this point in time. And I'm not even counting in Momentum Park, which is on the bottom corner of the One North area. So in terms of demand versus the amount of supply over there, there's definitely a lot. Even for tenants to look for a place to stay within a close proximity to the One North. And now we look at the URA Master Plan, those areas that are circled out. So these are the areas where there are future growth area. And whenever we look at projects, we are definitely very excited to know that whenever you buy into an area, when there's other growth, it actually meant that there'll be future appreciation. Where Blossoms is actually here. All right, and right at the bottom, there's also a white site that's going to be a reserve site. So likely it might also be another residential that's going to come up. And of course, some of the other white sites that I've circled, they are all reserve sites. So likely it may be residentials, it may not. We will know. But where I have asterisks on the bottom right of One North, this whole area has already been earmarked as a residential area. Right now, if you look at the street directory map, it's actually full of greens. I would say it's actually some units or residential areas over there, which they may potentially, redevelop
This portion,
into. Yep, correct.
Okay.
Into a residential.
So the government is putting a lot of attention here, and whenever our government is putting attention, that is where they will want to grow and rejuvenate the area. Plus, land plots definitely are not cheap. They will, of course, firstly is to calibrate the height restrictions in terms of plot ratio. So I think based on the amount of white sites here, Of course, it depends on when they will be launched, but I think based on the news that has been calibrated over the past 2-3 years, it seems that a lot of attention is on One North to be one of the tech hubs in Singapore. In fact, it's already happening. I mean, you look at all the MNCs and the different types of companies that are already situated right there. So, Grayce, because you're very familiar with this area, District 5, RCR, how is it like living in this zoning based on what you have understood?
Okay, so just a backstory, right? So I studied at NUS, so I was living on campus, right? So I also wanted to chime in just now that the rental pool, right, is not just from the working, population. Likely you will face a lot of tertiary the students who want to stay in this area as well, but they cannot get a slot on campus. So just a glimpse of what it's like to get a residential unit on campus. Usually, there's a process of application. Then once you apply, and then you have to fulfill certain commitments. Let's say you are staying in a hall, you have to take a certain amount of CCA points. And then if you're in the residential college, which is also where me and Brian, our insights writer, we were at the college at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, so we were from the same college, Tembusu. Yeah, it's actually
Tembusu. What?
Yeah, so
Okay.
to get a unit there is you have to go through some kind of application process, and not everyone is able to secure. And even if you do, right, it's only 2 out of your 4 years. For halls like Shears, Cambridge and all that, it's 1 out of 4 years. Throughout, I think towards the end, I actually rented Heritage Park. Yeah, Heritage Park condo. And then further on to the end, I stayed with my auntie who stays in the Dover Crescent area. And then eventually now I'm also renting at Dover Road.
Right.
Yeah, so what it's like to live there.
Yeah, because you have the Star, and then of course, this area is convenient, right?
Yes.
And there's also timber as well
Okay, living in this area, right, I would say as a young, working professional, or even in your tertiary years, is definitely fantastic. You are super closely connected to, I think, all that you need. Star Vista is like the huge hub where, you have all your food choices, you have the MRT. The MRT is extremely convenient as well, from Buona Vista down to town. But one thing about this area is that if you were to drive, or if you were to take the bus, you are just minutes away from Holland V. And then further down to Holland V is the Orchard, kind of Tanglin area already. So connectivity-wise, extremely convenient. Okay, and then, so let's say at Dover Road, right, if you were to just look at the amount of tertiary students, there's ACSI, ACJC, all of this, of course, there's a lot of young energy in the area. So if you take public transport, sometimes you need to squeeze with all these
SP is there.
Yes, SP is there,
United
and
World
then
College.
some of the asset business school further down. Yeah, INSEAD as well.
Right.
And then they have I think the Dover International Court School. Yeah, so and then further
Dover
down
Court.
is NUS, NUH already. So I would say a lot of young energy, a lot of this kind of hub for learning and all that in this area.
Right.
Okay, for example, if you are looking to start a family, you are looking for like something more quieter, I would say that the heartbeat of this area might be a little bit more intense than let's say if you are looking for something a bit slower pace. Yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah, and also because let's say if we were to look at the site plan, right, the project is in quite close proximity to the MRT, of course, but also to some of the periphery projects. Yeah, which means that it's really very lively and happening. Yeah, but if you're looking for those kind of like exclusive enclave and all that, this might not be it lah.
Sure. Interesting observation. So while you're saying that, I had two recollection. Number one is that this cluster here, which is the Ghim Dover cluster, in recent years we noticed that, of course, we sold a couple of units right there because firstly we sold a couple of $1 million properties right here at Ghim H, also Ghim Valley. Then, some might not hit $1 million, maybe 900,000 for the properties there. But we also noticed that there's like upcoming rejuvenation, because if you notice, there's like HDB clusters that's popping out. This will TOP 2024, which in another 5 years, 2029, you hit is MOP. Then there's also 2 new plots. It seems that the government is also trying to put attention to develop some of the brand new HDBs here. And of course, whatever HDBs that was developed here, eventually these are all potentially going to be hitting $1 million, right? Secondly, while you're sharing that, I remember when we were filming this.
Okay, wait, but I just chime in about the HDB part, right?
Yes.
So this HDB cluster, right? Okay, usually when we look at HDB, a lot of new HDB clusters, we see them as potential upgraders. But in this instance, I do not think that this HDB cluster will actually form your eventual buyers when you do want to exit. I think that when you want to exit, these HDB buyers will actually be looking at something a little bit more spacious, not really the two-bedder kind of mix. You will eventually be selling to kind of your new
Bachelors, professionals.
Yes, new kind of bachelors.
Unless you go for, I mean, even like the dual keys, I think dual keys, usually families that wants to buy, although I have some clients that live in dual keys, like they will stay in the two-bedder, they will rent out the one-bedder. Some actually, they buy the whole thing, they will knock down, they will stay. Then sometimes when they want to rent out, they will just put back the wall and stuff. But I think if really people do want to live here, a new point of view is that while I was filming this, so before going, actually I thought that, I mean last time, I have clients staying in Rochester Residences, One North, but I didn't really like walk the ground. But when I was filming this, I was very surprised that we filmed this actually from morning till night. We reached there at about 11, I finished at about 7 because I have to film the whole building. But when I was there, the only time I see human beings was when they were going home. Is that, so surprisingly, although the entire vibe is like Fusionopolis and all that, it's like very heavy, right? But when I was there, the surprising thing is that because JTC did it so well, there are so many greens there, it actually feels very relaxed. So if you have time, do go down, walk One North, because you'll be very surprised. Only at about 6 to 7 while I was filming the opening scene, right? So this is my opening scene. Then there were a lot of people at the MRT station. This is my opening scene. But other than that, actually, there was a lack of human beings there. I think they were all in the office, or maybe they were working from, only here. The MRT station is here, One North. There were a lot of human beings. But other than that, actually, when we were like walking around the building outside, it was quite nice to go into. So maybe we need like an exploration day to go to One North.
One thing about this One North area is also it's like there's a lot of amenities in terms of like lifestyle and wellness. So there's like, you know, all the different kinds of gyms and like the area. So at like 7 a.m.-ish, all the gym goers will like gather. Then after everybody will shower. Then by 8+, everyone will disperse, go off. It's like Shopee is nearby also. And then some of the big hubs, Razer as well. So lots of my friends were working in these areas. They may not live there, but they come here for their morning workout and then they work nearby. And then at the end of the day, they may come back for a second workout or hang out and then just go home to the OCR regions after that.
Yeah. Great. And I think coming from like a price point of view back again, right, is that I think in totality, this will definitely attract a lot of buyers that wants to buy to rent out because the rental demand is definitely strong there. You look at the performance at One North Residences, and of course, even Rochester, the big units, the rental take-up rate month-on-month basis is very strong. If this quantum is priced correctly, then I think the take-up rate will definitely be high because this seems to me like a very nice quantum play. I'm not sure about the two-bedders. Wayne, what do you think about the two-bedders?
Well, to me, I feel that two-bedders may appeal to people who just want to own a place there, and then they probably stay in one, and then they probably rent out the other one, or maybe a couple who just want to stay and in the area because they like the vibes over there or they work in that area. So I think that's generally where these kind of units will appeal to them. I'm not too sure about the 2+ study because usually the 2+ study will appeals more towards the family starters, or you know, they are starting a family. Then they probably will wants to go for such a unit type.
Okay. The last episode we talked about the fact that sometimes if developers price the 2-bed and 2+ study, if it's too close to one another in terms of size, this looks to me as pretty close to one another. The 2-bed is 678, this is 721, that means you top up another about 40+ square feet, you can get a 2+ study. So in this instance, what do you think will be the likely turnout? Because if you look at the price trend, it's about, I don't know how much, 100,000 difference. So do you think buyers will eventually go for the 2+ study? By the way, do we have the floor plan?
We have a very draft floor plan.
So just to disclaim again, this is on a very, very initial stage, the draft floor plans.
Yeah, so I actually did a comparisons between Blossoms and One North Eden, just to have a feel of how these two projects are faring in terms of the kind of units, kind of floor.
So if you top up 100,000, you can get a study room. What do you think likely will be the
I will go for the 2 plus study.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the additional flexibility of space, whether I can use it for study, can use it for storage. Because you do realize that these units don't have any space for storage area, which may be one of the problems as well.
Right. The 1 plus study to the 2 bed is pretty interesting because if you look at this, what do you think, Grayce? This is what I call very well priced in the sense that there's a stark difference between the 1 plus study and the 2 bed. So it's very easy for the buyers to understand, right?
Yeah.
Like 1.3, I can go for 1 plus study. I want to get a proper 2-bedder, I just top up 300,000 more. But if I cannot afford, I'll go for 1 plus study. What do you think about this?
So the disparity between the 1 plus study versus the 2-bedder definitely makes sense. I think there's a healthy gap. The kind of funny thing comes when, okay, let's say Wayne, I think you said you would prefer the 2 plus study, right? But in this case, I feel that the 2-bedder will actually sell out faster. Why? Even though it's just about 100,000 kind of difference, right? But if you were to look at the floor plan, where the study is situated is not very optimized for live and play and all that. So if you were to pull out the floor plan, right, the study is actually near the entrance, adjacent to the kitchen. And then your living and dining is further down and your bedrooms are at the side. So to me, this is, I see it as additional space, but I don't really see it as functional space. It feels more like the developer just slapped in another 40 square feet for me to
study or work there, right?
Yes, but okay, you saw it in the floor plans currently, okay, so this is not the finalized floor plan, so we are unsure, but just looking at the draft, right, it's just a corner when you enter your home, which seems more like I will not want to do work there. I will not want to put a bed there. Likely what I will do is maybe do up maybe a walk-in wardrobe, maybe some cabinetry for bags, for shoes before I head out. Yeah, that's how I would see that space being optimized because of where it is vis-a-vis the rest of the rooms. It's just not close to the bedrooms, it's not close to the living.
Right. Yeah, of course the best layout that I have seen for 2 plus study is for the study to be in between the master and the bedroom too, and provided the walls are hackable. Then you can actually weave
Make
the
it a
study
walk-in
room.
wardrobe.
Yeah, you can make it
home office.
Yeah, this one probably just a glass door, or make this into a wine cellar, or use this as a really legit study room. But
If it doesn't have an AC
aircon,
inside there,
yes.
this is the thing.
You
If it
must
doesn't
have
have
aircon.
AC, it's going to be a
So that's
problem.
why I feel that if I were the buyer and I look at the price points, I make sense of the floor plans, I may not see a need for this additional study space just because of where it's
additional
located.
$100,000.
Okay, but one thing I also want to talk about is the penthouses. The penthouse units are priced pretty far away from the 2-bedder. So let's say 2-bedder penthouse, right? Or 1-bedder penthouse is priced closer to the next tier already. Meaning, okay, let's say we take a look at the 2-bedder penthouse. Let's say, let's say 2350 lah.
The only 2
2004
units.
lah, okay.
Okay, this one.
It's closing to 2 mil already. And then, okay.
Whereas I can get a normal 2-bed plus or 3-bedder, but then even a 3-bedder is about 2.5.
But if you get a 2-bed penthouse, I will get a dual key 3-bedder.
Yes, correct. Yes. That was what I was looking at. Yeah. So the 3-bedder is just slightly off, slightly above, the 2.1, closing to 2.2 lah.
This guy will sell out.
Correct.
This will
No,
be gone.
and the developer priced it to sell, or sized it to sell.
Look at the size.
At 915 and making it a dual key, it's like an obvious move to make this a
Actually, should build this to have more.
rarity effect.
This will be gone. This will be gone.
Correct. And this pricing, makes the penthouse units, or rather compared to the penthouse units, this kind of pricing is very attractive.
But if you think about it, if you look at it from a buyer's perspective, if I'm considering a 2-bedroom, which is 678 square feet, and then I compare between a 3-bed dual key, because if let's say I want to buy a 2-bedroom and I want to stay myself, and now I want to get a tenant in to help me to support my mortgage, I pay about 500K more for a 3-bed dual key.
To get one more studio unit. Likely it will be a studio lah. I don't think there will be like a full-on kitchen at this size.
Maybe where I think there's still a substantial difference in quantum for people to really think about it.
Okay, but then we can talk about, let's say, penthouse units, right? Level 27, right? Overlooking. Okay, so one unique thing is that maybe why the penthouse units are priced this way is because we are also the tallest, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. We will be the tallest.
At that
this
slim barracks
area
area,
lah.
slim
Yeah.
barracks area, of course.
So at, I think plot ratio wise, we are also one of the
The tallest.
buildings. So if we were to look at it, maybe that's why there's this premium on penthouse units, because you want to be right at the top.
27th floor.
Yes. But one consideration is also that if you are an investor buyer, do you really care about being at the top?
Of course.
You know, if it's an own stay unit, then perhaps I will be extremely invested in the view, in being top of the city kind of view. But if I am a investor buyer, the rental yield doesn't vary that much across levels, right? So,
I mean, I don't think the investors will be looking at penthouse unit, and that's the reason why I think they only have like one unit per type, except for 2 bedrooms where you have 2.
I mean, because it's also one stack lah,
right.
right?
Okay, coming back to Wayne's point, actually this one, one way that usually dual key buyers, when they dissect it, is like this. So for example, I think the developer is also very smart because they never built any one bedder here, right? Okay, so what's going to happen is this. If you look at the 1 plus study is 1.3, then let's take it that if there were to be any one bedder here, it's going to be maybe about $1 million, right? So if
I don't think there will be a one bedder.
yeah, so there won't
There
be
won't
lah.
be one bedder. So minimally is okay, right.
Okay, so if there were to be a one bedder,
Right.
maybe at about 500 square feet, it might be at about 1 million or 1.1 million, right? So if you look at this, basically, if you can get a 2-bed, which is 1.6 plus a $1 million, that's about 2.6. But you can get this to enjoy the best of both, a 2-bedder and a studio unit. And studio you just need to rent out a little bit lesser than the normal 1 plus study. You can get it rented out. So in future, if the 1 plus study, let's say if it's renting at about $4,500, or maybe $5,000, or maybe $4,500, like, you just need to rent out 4,000 or 3,800. You can get the studio rented out. But that is based on an additional $500,000 because here to here, the gap is technically 500,000 to get an additional unit to be rented out with no ABSD.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, okay, I mean, of course, on paper, you know, it makes it very attractive, but definitely I think investors will be considering their quantum wise as well. And I still think that, you know, the 1 plus studies and the 2-bedders, they will sell out. I'm guessing that some parents will buy for their children who are studying at, let's say, NUS or ACSI. So I've had friends, I'm not sure, but I've had friends whom their parents buy near their tertiary education.
Using their name.
Could be under their name, yeah, or could be under their
living
the
trust.
parents' other name lah.
Okay.
Yeah, to be near the school. So I think that there will still be a lot of demand for the smaller types also, the 1 plus study and the 2-bedders, especially because they might just be thinking, okay, keep the quantum low, just want to get in, just want to take some long-term rental income and be in
Just
the
buy a unit
area.
for investment. Yeah. I mean, naturally, this is not a lot of units to be absorbed by the market. Like, if you look at it in totality, there's only how many units here? 275. It's not a lot of unit. There'll be buyers that are single, professional, that's doing well by themselves. Like, maybe they're 30, 35 years old, taking a very decent professional salary, and then they can afford a unit by themselves. And then, of course, young couples, maybe they like the vibe there. They'll just get a unit, a 2-bedder.
Okay, so I have a friend who is single, and then he's also looking in this kind of D5
How old is
area. 31 this year.
Okay, single
Okay.
professional.
Yes,
looking
single
at D5
professional,
because he wants the hype there.
Yes, so okay, it's the same friend that we went to visit Terra Hill. Then I told you guys we got lost in the at the show flat, the 4th
Okay.
premium.
You said that they're walking
yes.
round and round, huh? Okay.
Yeah, so I went with him to
Within
view
the 5-bedder, right? 4-bedder or 5-bedder?
the Prestige collection. I think
Okay.
four bedder. Yeah.
She got lost in the show flat because she says that there's like too many bathrooms and everything.
No, because, okay, for Terra Hill, right, one very unique thing is that the rooms are connected via a common bath.
No, a Jack and Jill bar.
Yes, like a Jack and Jill, yeah.
So she was walking round and round and she was like, she couldn't get out of it.
No, and then we walk, and then it's like the walk-in wardrobe, and then like
Right.
blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway, he was considering buying Terra Hill, right? But then Terra Hill, because it's freehold, and because it's closer to the Greater
What's
Southern
his
Waterfront
budget?
Camp.
What's his budget?
Barring budget lah, not talking about budget, right? Just talking about suitability, right? So he wants to look at, so I recommended him Blossoms because he wants a one bidder.
How much is Terra Hill 2 bidder, by the way? That time.
Okay, so somehow, right, Terra Hill, one thing is that the smaller size is two bidder.
But
They don't
there's
have a
something
one
about
bidder.
Terra Hill that we analysed in the past, right? Is that the amazing thing how they did with their 2-bed 2-bath is they can still squeeze in a home shelter. Was
Terra
it?
Hill, huh?
Yeah.
Was it because of the?
I remember
Yes,
Terra
Terra, okay, Terra
very
Hill, right?
amazing.
The bomb shelter is when you enter, is at the side. Okay, Terra Hill, I would say the floor plan is
You see, look at
fantastic.
this.
Yeah.
You see, 6, 7, 8 square feet. You have 2-bed 2-bath and
Correct.
a home shelter. Leh. It's like, what? How
Yeah.
did they do it? I don't know how they
Terra
do
Hill
it.
is definitely one of the.
No, even the 624 square feet one, you look at this, without the balcony.
Yeah, but even the bedroom too will be small.
The kitchen, the kitchen is small.
Bedroom 2 is
Kitchen
okay. It's okay.
Bedroom 2 is big. Honestly, bedroom 2 is pretty big. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, long story short, my question is that one bidder can buy, one plus study. Because generally, I think if we are looking at more OCR region and all that, we will recommend, if you have the budget, go up to about, 2 bidders and all that. But I think in this one-off area, it's worthy to look into this one bid plus study.
By the time when we were doing Terra Hill, we were very excited about
The
price.
penthouse, the penthouses.
We were very excited. We were so excited about.
If
the
you have not
pricing,
watched the
right?
Terra Hill episode,
Oh
please
my
go and watch.
goodness.
Yeah.
We were like, we had such a rare find that we exploded. Anyway, everything is sold already. All the 2 bedders. Oh, okay. So Terra Hill 2-bed 2-bath is going at 1.8 million. So on the balance unit, 3-bed compact. 2 plus study is at 2.1 plus, 3-bed compact is 2.3 plus. So let's compare that back to this price. So what will your friend buy now? Let's just compare for our audience, right? Okay, 2-bed 2-bath is 1.8 plus. 2 plus study is 2.19, about there. 3-bed compact is 2.3. Let's just remember 1.8 plus, 2.1 plus, 2.3 plus. And then compare back to this. Terra Hill is freehold, Pasir Panjang. This is a couple of stops up, one north. Pasir Panjang, you take another couple of stops up, you bypass Haw Par Villa, you go up, right? 2-bed 2-bath, 1.6 plus here compared to Terra Hill 1.8 plus. 3-bed compact,
2.5 versus
2.1 plus.
2.1 plus 2.5.
This I don't know, maybe this will be a 3-bed premium lah. I don't know what's the difference. C1
This should be
and
okay. This one should have a home shelter inside, a utility and
C1
yard.
has a utility,
Yeah, there's a utility and a yard.
C2 has a utility. It's pretty similar, right?
So this is more of the premium.
Okay, actually it's pretty similar. It's just the one got long walkway, one got a long walkway. So Wayne, would you buy a Terra Hill compact at 2.3 plus, or will you buy a dual key here?
Dual key.
Even though this is 99.
There's growth in this area. There's abundance of tenants pool in this area. Not too sure about Terra Hill in terms of growth.
Okay, depends on life stage.
Right, of
If
course.
you are looking to, dual key kind of only makes sense when your family is still small, right? You can still live on one side and then the 2-bed side, and then you can still rent out the studio. But if you're at a place where you value lifestyle, you value this kind of premium-C that Terra Hill brings you, and you want all your family to live under one roof, you don't want to be separated,
Different
right?
preferences.
Yeah,
lah.
you will choose
Okay,
Terra Hill.
From an investment point of view, Grayce.
Yeah.
For investment, that means it's like in 3, 5, in 4 years' time, once the TOP you want to sell, or maybe you want to rent for 1, 2 years and you sell in 6 years' time, will you buy a 2-bedder here at Blossoms at around this range, 2-bed 2-bath, or would you buy a Terra Hill 2-bed 2-bath at 1.8 over a million? That is freehold. This is 99. 200K difference.
I will buy Terra Hill.
Why? For investment purpose, not for your own
Oh,
stay.
investment.
Not for your stay.
Short runway, like
4 to 6 years.
Oh, okay. Then, not for own stay, then I will.
It's your second property.
Yeah, if it's not for own stay, then definitely I'll immediately look here already. Because, okay, like I shared in the previous NOTG episodes, right? Freehold properties, they are fantastic if you're holding it as a legacy product, and if you are, looking at a longer term trajectory, you want long term growth. And Terra Hill in that area, perfect for long term growth, right? Because there's a lot of developments that will not happen in the next maybe 5 years. A freehold property, you are looking at something longer term, also because of the lesser number of times it will change hands. Meaning that if I'm buying into it, I may be just holding it for a long time. Personal preference also, I think Terra Hill is a little bit more of a premium kind of project. This one is more fast-paced. I think that the projects will change hands pretty quickly. Not just changing hands in terms of ownership, but in terms of rental. Right? You're always looking at new tenants, new tenant demands. But as an investor, if I'm just coming into this purely looking at numbers, then obviously I will go for this area where I know rental demand is fantastic. I can go in at a lower quantum. Connectivity-wise, I think there's more rental demand in this area as well. Amenities, accessibility, fantastic. So definitely, if I'm an investor purely, I'll be looking at two-bedder here.
So one thing, what Grayce pointed out is very correct, because one thing to take note is that when you exit, you want to try and visualize what will be the potential future price that you can exit into. So for example, in the past when we were trying to analyze which of these 7 projects to invest in terms of this two-bedder type, all these were the available launches that a particular investor that we're serving could buy from. And in fact, after analysis was being done, a couple of our investors actually bought same suburban Oasis under our recommendation. So at that time, we're trying to ascertain based on entry quantum. Actually, looking at this, it's very hard pain. You look at all these properties last time, it's like how much only. Okay, then we're trying to ascertain by the red color marking what will be the likely exit price next time. So basically, if you were to look at this chart again, what will potentially happen is that if let's say you were to go in for blossoms at about 1.5 plus or 1.6 or 1.6 odd million, in future, let's say in 4 years time when you TOP, if you want to exit at maybe 1.8 plus or 1.9, you are still below the $2 million threshold. So of course, if you're coming from an earlier exit point of view, like what Grayce mentioned, 1.8 plus at Terra Hill, in future you have to go out at about 2.1 million, about that. So of course, every price point has a specific target audience. In future, of course, freehold lovers will still buy Terra, right? But people that are restricted to something that is below 2 million might hunt for resale products at less than 2 million, which this will fall into that spectrum. Similarly, of course, if you get a 3-bed dual key at about 2.2, you can exit at 2.5, 2.6. You will still have a sizable audience. What do you think, Wayne?
I think there's also one thing as we look at the performance of also the One North residences as well. So we definitely are seeing a lot of tractions ongoing. In fact, I'm looking at the past transactions, and recently there's about 1 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms being transacted in the last couple of months as well. So from there, we definitely are seeing that there'll be definitely movement. And plus also the fact that when we look at blossoms, and plus also the future potential land plots that may also be a part of the government land sales, it will also form a form of price disparity between blossoms and the newer plots, where you pull out the pricing as well. Correct. So I believe in terms of pricing wise, blossoms definitely will have in age lah.
If we were to look at all the comparisons of projects in One North, based on this table here, you can see that actually the projects are getting a little bit more age, right? So Dover, Heritage View, it was like the previous season, 1993, 1996. Then of course, the next season was actually these 2 projects. They are the same age. And now we're into the new season, these 3. And whatever projects that is going to be launched after which, very likely the break-even price and the launch price will be higher, right? Maybe Grayce and Wayne, bring us through this table here. What do you all see here?
So what I did was actually I went to deep dive and look into the number of listings or the type of listings that are available in that One North clusters. So we look at 1-bedder studio, I grouped them together. So you can see that basically Rochester is a bit different because Rochester, some of the units have the extra loft and kind of size. So that's the reason why you realize that Rochester actually takes all the biggest size from 1-bedder all the way to 4 bedrooms because of the loft built up. But in terms of pricing wise, you can see that actually for the highest price for 1-bedder, because of the loft space, you're paying about $2 million for Rochester. But I believe for the normal units, you're looking at probably the high of the $1 million mark for the rest of the other normal units like in One North residences and stuff like that. So the lowest price for the studio is about it's still below $1 million because of the age of One North residences. So 2-bedders, you're looking at about 1.3 odd mil starting from, and for 3-bedders, it's about 1.86 starting from. 4-bedders, of course, the bigger one will actually be Heritage, because of the size of the unit. 4 bedrooms is about 1,400 odd square feet.
Right.
Price is about $2.3 odd million. So these are currently the offerings that are in the market at the time of recording. But if you look at all the PSF perspective wise, all of them, apart from the smaller units, the bigger units are all below $2,000 PSF. So there's a disparity between the ones in the resale market vis-a-vis the one that we have right now in Blossoms, which is easily going about $2,300 PSF.
Right. Great. And maybe what we're going to do is that because the site plan is not out yet, all we can see basically is from this very, very rough draft here. But of course, once the finalized site plan is out, then we can do deep dive analysis. So right now we only have this. It's a 1-block tower, and of course there seems to be 11 stacks. But of course, all these are subject to confirmation once the plans are released. But at the end of the episode, we want to talk about which will be the first bedroom type that we think will sell out first. So starting from Grayce.
Definitely, I think the first bedroom type to sell out is what we have repeatedly mentioned. The 3-bed dual key. Dual key units are so fantastic for rental. It's so fantastic for own stay, and then mixed with even like if you were to live like kind of with someone that you don't want to see so often. No, just kidding. I think 3-bed dual keys. Dual key units are so rare.
If you don't see so often, you wouldn't live with the person.
Maybe you need to live with them, but you don't want to see them.
And then you just banish them into the studio unit.
Anyway, when you buy a dual key, you have 3 keys. Main door, then internally you have 2 doors. So you have 3 sets of keys, just to take. And also, one thing about dual key is that you have to get your PE and electrician to install additional DB box if you want to have a clear segregation of electrical meter reading, because most dual key developments, they do not come with it, but some developers, they do give that. In very rare instances. Okay, sorry, continue. So 3-bed dual key, right?
I think it's like if you are a young couple maybe, but you want to buy into something with a little bit more longevity. You want to buy into it and you know that you're going to stay, but perhaps in the near future, you do not need that amount of space yet. You can rent it out for it to supplement your mortgage, right? So this will be extremely enticing for people who need a little bit of more rental income while staying at the property itself. So I think the 3-bed dual key is one that will be snapped up very quickly. Yeah.
Great. How about you, Wayne?
For me, I think it's a 1+ study. Generally, because of the demographic of the workers working there and the demographic of the layout not the layout, but more of the businesses in One North residences, where it's really investors are thinking of buying and then renting it out to the tenants pools over there. But also when we look at the past performance of One North Eden that was actually launched 2 years back, on the launch day itself, the smaller units are actually snapped up right away. So we can see that the demand for projects over there are predominantly shifting towards the smaller size units, because investors are going there for either the tenants pool or even if I'm just working there, I just want to get a unit that's the most affordable unit, I just want to stay there, I'll be going for the smallest unit, which is the 1+ study.
I think 1+ study will be definitely first to sell out, and it will. This is one of the projects that we can expect a more kind of lower quantum to higher quantum movement. But if you have the funds, right, then the 3-bed dual key,
Actually, I think there'll be 2 things that will go lah. I mean, I think that actually the 2 beds, because of this quantum, it also seems pretty attractive in comparison to some of the other launches on the island. But 3-bed dual key definitely is my personal favorite. I think that you will move, and this quantum is very hard to get a 3-bedder in today's day and age. So 3-bed dual key as well as a 2-bed. A little bit greedy, I will choose 2. Right. Okay, great. So any final observations to share with our audience, Grayce?
Final observation is that I think this will be in the heart of the prime hexagon, right? The prime hexagon area of the Orchard CBD and then Bukit Timah, One North area. You will be at the heart of where a lot of the action is, whether you like it or not. That's for you to decide whether you want to be, especially in these projects where you have commercial on level 1, you are super integrated to all the amenities. Your home is also where a lot of activity is happening. So definitely, I think it's a project that those who you want to be where the heart of the action is, you will be very interested in this project, especially with the quantum kept quite palatable. I think developer has very cleverly done up the unit mix to ensure that prices are still acceptable for a lot of the young people. So I think we will see a pretty good action for this project, especially for those younger demographics. They will turn their eyes towards Blossoms by the Park.
Great, awesome, thank you. How about Wayne, any final observations?
I think this is also one of the quite in-demand place that everybody's talking about, and as well, especially after the opening of the whole entire COVID pandemic, right, where now all the techs are coming into Singapore, all the investors are coming into Singapore, and Singapore government trying to push itself to be the incubator for all the startups and drawing in all the funds from all the global companies, right. This is where you will see a lot of actions and where a lot of the workers that's going to come from all the international countries to come into Singapore. This will be the area where they will all be congregating in. So that's the reason why I think, in terms of investors who are thinking, or even for people who are working there, I might be more interested to look at the projects in this area. On top of that, when I look at the master plan, there's also growth, and I'm also very excited about that as well. And I think one fun fact about One North, which I'm not too sure if everybody knows about that, is that actually JTC has a on-demand shuttle service that plies the entire One North. In fact, one of the stops is actually One North Residences, and it brings you all the way to the different various key points in One North, from fusion, media, bio, even to all the manufacturing hubs. So in fact, if you want to work inside there as well, you can basically go car light. And I think that's also, and in fact, One North area is also one of the first area to be able to fly drone. Yeah, so I think that's a few fun facts.
Driverless cars testing also all that.
So if you are really the tech people, I think that's where you may want to go into the part of Singapore.
Okay, one thing to also highlight from Wayne's sharing that I thought about is that when you are, if you're an investor looking to buy into an area, you're not just looking at rental demand, right? Rental income, okay, we can get that pretty much in quite a few places. Of course, this is one of the strongest places for rent because your rental demand is also from very high earners, right? But rental is not the only thing to look at if you are investing. You have to look at the capital appreciation, which is the second vehicle and arguably the stronger vehicle for growth in terms of investment, right? So you will be looking at how much growth this area can kind of promise you. And I think, Wayne, you have shared plenty about the white sites and lots of development that will be happening. So buying into the area early could be a fantastic thing for capital appreciation.
Right. Awesome. Great. So I think at this point in time, based on the information we have, we hope that you had a good review together with us on this particular project at Blossoms by the Park. So we hope to see you on the next episode on our new launch banter series. Which one are we doing next one?
Continuum.
All right.
Freehold.
We'll see you at Continuum. All right. Meantime, take care, and we'll see you on the next new launch review banter series.